Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about the ambiguity that surrounds marital rape. Well, people, if you have something to say on the issue that we are debating today, all you'll have to do is pick up your phone and call us at 1800115314 or 23035420. Having said that, we are joined by Himanshu from Delhi. So, Himanshu, if you can hear me, welcome to the show.
The question and raise the issue.
Yes.
That amendment would be a first step towards protecting the wives. But there are many laws. I want to raise the issue of implementation of the laws.
Okay.
Because we have a domestic violence law, we have a law on age of marriage, but these are not implemented very well. We have a lot of marriages below the age of 18 where girls are married, and in cases of domestic violence, women are not coming up too many, and especially from rural areas. So even if we bring in a law, we have to check the issue of the social change, that is the patriarchal mindset.
Okay, thank you so much for that view. I would want Kusum to respond to this. So he says that because there is no implementation, so what is an amendment really going to do? You want to address that?
Implementation, like the laws are coming up, even the cases are coming up, and they are being decided. But the only thing is, I again come to my point that laws will not play that pivot role in the society as are conscious as a human beings. We are going to play the role. If we consider our wife also, if men consider their wife as pious as they consider themselves, there's no such offense. There's
but
no
that's
such
easier
act.
said than done, Kusum. That's the only thing, that if they would actually consider the wives as pious as they consider themselves, then probably we would never have even one complaint coming out of this country.
Yes, but it is.
Isn't it?
It is true, because law is the legal system of the country is the face of the society, which is prevailing. So nowadays, if these offences are coming up so rampantly, so rapidly, that means there's something wrong with the public, with the people of a country, that they are so frustrated, they just want to throw their frustration through their, through their wives. And they feel that their wives so as a soft target, that they feel that some domain is going out of their hands, and she is the only one whom they can abuse sexually, physically, in whatever manner.
So whatever failures a man is facing outside the four walls of the house, he comes and just kind of, lets go on this wife who he just considers nothing but a piece of flesh.
Because she cannot raise the voice. Because somewhere or the other, they know she's a married woman, she is mother of my children. No, she has got no right to go away from my house. She is on my beck and call. I can make use of her at any way, in whatever manner I want to.
Right.
So that consciousness.
Well, right now, I'll have to interrupt you for a moment. We have a woman with us. This is Aditi Sharma from Ghaziabad. So, Aditi, if you can hear me, welcome to the show.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to you. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, my question to the panelists is that since religion and marriage is a very sensitive issue, so does it boil down to vote bank politics, or has the judges of India just put a blind eye on this subject?
Okay, thank you for that. Well, I would want Kavita to comment on this.
Yeah, it's not the judges, Aditi. I think it is about the lawmakers, and you're right in a way, because if you think about it, not so much in terms of vote bank, I don't use that phrase, but I think certainly they feel that the dominant opinion in society is conservative, and they don't want to go against that. Whereas I really feel that actually attitudes are beginning to change, and during last year's movement, whenever we would talk about marital rape, even on the streets of Delhi, streets all over the country, there were lots of people who would listen and actually acknowledge that yes, this needs to change. And just responding to the discussion that was going on earlier, but very rightly, I think Kusum talked about this, the need to kind of hold on to control, hold on to this kingdom, or a sense of control and sense of power, perhaps even among men who may otherwise feel powerless in other situations.
In society.
And I think that here, what I was talking about earlier, see, this business about marriage, see, we don't just want that it should be based on some kind of sanctity. The point is, it should be based on a sense of it should not be a domain of power. It should be a domain of equality.
Togetherness.
And that is a domain of equality, where one
First.
respects the equality and autonomy. So you have to change the notion of marriage, which means that you will also have to change even your adultery laws, because your adultery law presently presumes that the wife, a man can be prosecuted for having had sex with your wife, because you are thinking of, the law thinks of your wife as your property. Okay, so he has adulterated your wife, so that becomes adultery. You need to actually change all of that.
Correct.
And I just wanted to quickly mention that, what I quoted earlier, because it is a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the 6th
It's not
chapter,
Manusmriti,
which
as you
says
said.
that if the husband, if a husband wants to persuade his wife, he should bribe her for sex, and if the wife refuses, then he should beat her with his fists or with a stick in order to overpower her. This is there in our culture. Not everything in our culture is hunky-dory and good. We need to be able to distance ourselves from what is bad.
True.
And actually embrace things that are necessary and good.
Shamina, I think this discussion would be incomplete if we did not really go into the reasons as to why is marital rape really taking place within the four walls of a society. So do you think because the frustrations outside are too many, and because, as all of you said, the man could be totally powerless outside, so he thinks that because she is a property, he considers her his property, that's why he wants to just exercise. So it's more of a power game than anything else.
It has always been a power game. I mean, whether you talk about rape outside marriage or within the marriage, it is always a power game. It is never about the sexual pleasures that one often talks about. No, it is basically overpowering somebody whom you maybe have access to easily. And the easiest person here in this case in marital rapes is basically the wives. And it is not always when the man is actually powerless outside in the society and he comes and tries to overpower the wife. It is sometimes vice versa, wherein the wife is perhaps more powerful outside in the society, and the man, the only way to ensure that he still has the command over the wife or the woman is to overpower her sexually.
So he wants to tame her basically.
Yes. So this is one of the aspects. Then there are various other which comes out. Sometimes it is property. I mean, there is some property in the name of the wife, and she is not actually giving consent to maybe sell out the property, or maybe give it in somebody else's name, maybe the husband or maybe something else. Then also it comes out, it has been seen that a man actually tries to abuse her, and when it is abuse, it is sometimes, I don't say always. So men who are listening to this, they should not feel that it's all the women who are complaining about this. There are certain cases where women complain that it has happened to them because they were not actually giving the right to property, or their own property, or maybe their bank account. It is
So the
basically
reasons
about
could be
sometimes
just
also
about
about the
any.
economic freedom that a woman enjoys sometimes, which has to be overpowered, and the easiest way sometimes men feel is to have exploit her sexually and to tell her that, look, this is what you are, this is who you are, I have the command over your body, and that is why you just can't get away with anything else.
Right. That's really sad. Well, we have another viewer with us. This is Satvir Sangwan from Gurgaon. So Satvir, are you there with me?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead.
Madam, actually, rape in marriage,
Yes.
this is a strange type of word. When marriage has taken place, then there should not be a question of, rape type of things. Secondly, one is bound to, by religion also, one is bound to see each other's, comforts level and problems. In that way, if one is physically not fit, then the other should cooperate in this, this is very sacred relation. So this sanctity of the relation should be maintained, and, it should not be abused in any manner.
Okay.
Say sometimes, some may
Thank you very much. I have got what you're trying to say here. We've got the gist of that, and I'll have the panelists to respond to this too. But right now we'll have to slip into yet another break in the program. But you all do stay put as we are coming back on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about the ambiguity that surrounds marital rape. Well, people, you can still call us if you have something to say on this issue. Our numbers are still, our lines are open right now, and the numbers are 1800115314 and 23035420. And now we are joined by Shiva from Bangalore. So, Shiva, can you hear me, please?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling from Bangalore. I have a question here.
Yes.
So, there are a bunch of laws for like 498A and domestic violence, etc.
Correct.
But those were not implemented properly. There is no single law to protect men, right? So if this law is misused, then what is the actions or what is the implementations? So we cannot say that. See, we have been facing a lot of issues. I'm a counselor for men's rights organization.
Okay.
That I've received so many calls, and per day I'm getting 5 to 10 calls of misuse of domestic violence and 498A. If this law is implemented, so how can we protect men in terms of misuse?
Okay, I think that's a good question, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Well, Kusum, I think the questions are all directed at you today.
I think the viewers, they are really helping us to prove our program.
Yes.
And they are really become shattered to see that why women are being so aware through this program. And moreover, they don't want to lose their domain, that once they are awakened, once they'll come to know about their rights, and they are going to be one of their authorities. But at the same time, the things have to go on. Now, women, they have to fight for their right. Now it's the time when women has to come forward and has to fight for whatever the injustice is being done to them. And laws are helping them. Again and again I am saying, the only thing is that they have to come forward and they have to fight, and definitely the judgments are coming up that they will get the protection and security and safety in the society.
And also, I think as far as the fears go, these things have to be proved in a court of law. It's not that it's just because there's a law somewhere you're going to be put behind bars.
I just wanted to quickly say that look, there is no law in this country that is not abused or misused. Okay, there are false cases of theft which are filed. Very often the police is falsely implicating somebody in some crime or the other. That does not mean that we have done away with all those laws.
Correct.
Now, this what this gentleman, the last gentleman from Bangalore said, essentially this is playing into the idea that somehow women are more prone to lying. That is what you say when you say that we are needing to protect. The point is, what about the need to protect women from violence that is occurring? In spite of that, I grant you that there may be instances where what a woman is alleging against her husband in a 498A case may not be completely borne out by facts, but let that be dealt with in a court of law, let it be dealt with in the legal way, just as all sorts of other cases are dealt with. And the other question which was asked just before the break, I just wanted to quickly respond to that also, because he talked about the, he reflected the understanding which is a commonly held understanding in society, and which is also the understanding of our law, which is that, marital rape, what kind of phrase is that? If you're married, that means you are obliged to provide sex. The point is that that is such a degrading understanding of marriage, all right? Because essentially then you're saying marriage is something in which force is assumed. It is not just, you see, I'm turning it on its head. They are saying marriage means consent is assumed. I'm saying if you say that, you're saying marriage is something where force is okay. You're essentially saying that a husband can demand or force, which is what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad quote, which I said. Is this our understanding of what a relationship between a man and a woman should be? I think that if we bring consent back into marriage or into a marital relation, we are actually doing justice to marriage rather than keeping violence in it.
Define consent, that in marriage consent is of cohabitation, which should be expression of love, not a forcible act. That should that a marital rape should take form of it. So,
well, we have one more caller here. This is Jyoti from Sikandrabad. So, Jyoti, if you can hear me, welcome to Gender Discourse. Jyoti, are you there with me?
Ji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ji. या गुड इवनिंग जी, मुझे पूछना है कि मैं ये डिस्कशन देख रही हूँ जी. आई एम मैरिड एंड आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट माई सेल्फ ओनली. जी, या आई नो कि सेक्स इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ एवरी मैरिज. द थिंग इज, जब फोर्स्ड सेक्स बार बार हो रहा है तो इट इज वेरी नेचुरल, इट इज वी कैन से इट इज रेप. अब मुझे पूछना है कि इससे मैं बाहर कैसे निकलूं अदर देन डाइवोर्स. ये चीजें मेरे साथ हो रही हैं. आई एम डिस्कसिंग विद माय फैमिली, बट माय फैमिली इज टोटली ब्लैंक नाउ. बट आई वांट टू गेट rid फ्रॉम दिस. एंड प्लस जो आप लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, इट्स ओके, सब कुछ है, बट मुझे अभी इस चीज से मैं कैसे अब बाहर निकलूं मैं. एंड माय हस्बैंड इज वेरी एजुकेटेड, वेल पोस्टेड in army, but now what to do?
Well, Jyoti, thank you so much for sharing your inner thoughts with us, and I really wish that we are able to help you at least a little bit. Shamina, I would want you to take this, please.
You know what, this is the unfortunate part of it, and this is why perhaps we are discussing and debating this topic, that there at least let us talk about a law in place which is there to protect the right of the woman to her body. And here is a woman, and there are hundreds of such cases wherein the women, they really don't know where to go, what to do, because divorce is not the solution, not the solution. And it is, I mean, the gentleman before who had called, I mean, he was trying to say, and unfortunately this is how most of men perceive it to be, that marriage means license to have sex. It is certainly not this way. And marriage is something much more to it, something really it talks, or it should talk about equality, this, as Kavita said. And it's, I mean, where would she go, or where would any such woman go? Because she cannot even lodge an FIR.
Absolutely,
she cannot even lodge an FIR.
Yes.
The only thing can be done is counseling. The husband could be made to understand that this is wrong, but there are instances where husbands are not even willing to acknowledge that this is something wrong.
Absolutely.
This is the patriarchal mindset that we have to deal with. And this is, and I first of all, hats off to the courage of the woman that she's actually coming up
and really speaking about it. That's true.
And I would certainly tell her that there's a lot of hope still, despite of the fact that we don't have the law in place, but still there is a lot of hope. There are places where you can go, and at least, I'm not talking about lodging an FIR, but at least you can complain about it, and there are agencies which are ready to help you. At least there are social activists who are ready to help you out. There is NCW which is ready to help you out. You can always come and contact us. But nonetheless, we need to have a law in place which is there at least for the women to, and for heaven's sake, all the men around, we are only talking about that if you have a right to your own body, why can't a woman have right to her body?
That's true. Since we are now winding up, in one sentence, do you really want to say anything at the end?
Responding to what Jyoti said, along with all the other points made, along with the law recognizing marital rape as a crime, we also need rape within marriage to be recognized as a grounds for divorce, which is also not so, as far as I know, in so many words, because clearly it is degrading to remain in a marriage where you're being raped, and so it has to be recognized as grounds for divorce as well.
Right. You want to say anything at the end?
I would like to make an appeal to judiciary, because a sensitized judge can be more powerful armor than a long legislations or the protections what a section can give. But if a judgment is given in the favor of the women, that can have a more impact on the society.
Right. Well, on that note, I'd like to say thank you to all three of you for coming today and for putting all this in perspective. I do hope that some changes do come up after this.
Thank you.
Well, friends, between the Indian Penal Code and women suffering marital rape lies an abysmal gap that needs the state to step in and ensure protection. While the courts go about pronouncing judgment on the deprivation of sex being an act of cruelty and thereby a ground for divorce, the silence surrounding marital rape hardly does any credit to the Indian criminal justice system. A woman can approach a family court for divorce under the broad cruelty category of various marriage and divorce legislations, or seek redress under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. But she cannot seek punishment for a husband who has raped her. How long will the law of the land neglect the rights of women? How long will women suffer patriarchal biases of society? These are questions which still have no answers. We can just hope that someday good sense would prevail over the authorities that be, and marital rape would be recognized as a criminal offense. On that note, it's a wrap. Do catch me next week with another interesting debate on another gender issue. Till then, this is Lottie Alaric saying goodbye and take very good care of yourselves.